Today I've been taking a look at Danny Barlow. Danny, left-handed god, Barlow. He's fighting on the prelims coming up on UFC 298 this weekend. I like to just pick kind of one person out every day or other day or whatever and just go watch their fights and stuff. He's got probably 4 fights on YouTube. He's fighting Josh Quinlin. Josh Quinlin's 6-1, won no contest. Danny Barlow as a pro is 7-0. He's coming off of a win on the Contender Series. As amateur, he's 6-1. He did have a professional grappling. I think it was a BJJ thing. It was in it's like a regional. I can't think of the name of it for some reason. The name of it just went totally out of my mind when I went to say it, but I didn't see much groundwork from him, little ground and pound, but he's got some good stuff. He's got a little bit, he's doing kind of that MVP style where his hands are low a lot. He mixes a lot of the strikes up between punching and kicking. He, kick to the leg, kick to the body, kick to the head, but he mixes it up pretty well. He seems to me to be one of these guys that he's ready for the UFC. He's not amazing. You can see some holes, some weird stuff. There was a couple punches he was reaching for, things like that. And he might have corrected them already. But usually when I'm looking at this stuff, I'm trying to see, are they at the very least above average proficiency? Are the holes small? Are they things that can be fixed when he gets in the UFC and starts out on that bottom level? Because I think what we all want is really good fighters, so you can just see crazy level stuff. John Jones, Demetrius Johnson, Habib. And when you're looking at guys, I hear it a lot of times where people, I don't know, they don't seem to have it into perspective. You'll have lower level guys that are coming in and they think everybody's going to be one of those Habib or John Jones or something. It's weird to me. That's not what I'm looking for. I mean, that's great. If I can see that in a lower level guy, wow. But those are so one-offs. John Jones was, very young and amazing for how old he was. Same thing with Habib, but, I think it's possible we might see more of that in the future because the big difference is traditionally people didn't start until later, and nowadays they're starting earlier. And not only are they starting earlier, but they're starting in more of a mixed martial arts training fashion rather than they just wrestled all through high school or they took karate or taekwondo or whatever. There are starting to be MMA gyms. Gyms are starting to offer MMA classes. That never was a thing until fairly recent. We got 30 years of the UFC, and in the last, I don't even know when they started it, but it seems at least the last 5 years, it seems like you can find a BJJ gym, you can find an MMA class, you can Google it and come up with possibilities. That wasn't a thing years ago at all. People didn't even know what you're talking about. If you said MMA, they're like, what is that? You're like, mixed martial arts? And they're like, okay, what's that? So you can see that these things could possibly start to happen more, but I'm happy with where Danny Barlow is. This will be his first UFC fight, official UFC fight. So I like what I'm seeing, and I just gotta, before I let this go, I gotta say 2 things. One, I love that he almost always was wearing some form of a camo short different patterns and stuff. I thought that was pretty cool. And one of his opponents has one of the best nicknames. I'm a sucker for witty nicknames. His opponent's nickname was Blackie Chan. That's awesome. That's perfect. Just outstanding.